Well, hello and welcome again. This is Robert Schein, Managing Director and Partner of Blanke, Schein Wealth Management. Today is Friday, August 21st, 2020, and it's our Friday Insights edition. Today we're going to talk about a topic that I brought up from a research from Strategis. Again, Strategis is an independent research firm that we follow here at Blanke, Schein Wealth Management to manage our portfolios. They've guided us quite nicely, not only for the last decade of following Strategis, but very specifically over the last 3 or 4 months. Some quality work by these guys. And so today, one of the reports that I want to highlight again on a Friday highlight is perspective for the S&P 500. We talked about this earlier this week, and yesterday I talked about it as well. The S&P 500, essentially had 103 days from February 19th all-time high to then creating another all-time high, closing above its February 19th high, to just have the S&P create all-time high again, which is incredible, erasing the 35% downdraft that we saw on the indices. Obviously, that happened because of the pandemic and the government shutdown and the uncertainty surrounding everything, but it also just shows the resilience of the U.S. economy and the equity markets very specifically. Now, we know the equity markets are being supported artificially right now by the Federal Reserve, as well as stimulus from Congress. And so the question is, how long does this last? Well, Congress has failed to act on CARES 2.0. In fact, they're back in session this weekend, but they're not talking about extending the unemployment benefits. They're talking about the post office. I've talked about that and ranted enough about that, and I'm sure your nightly news is going to give you more than fair share on that. It's a very specific case in point. But the reality is the market actually needs, the economy very specifically, needs the assistance. But we're right now in a recession. And the 4 points that we showed you earlier this week are data points of, can markets hit all-time highs, and have they done so previously, and historically speaking, while you're technically in a recession? And then what does the market look like a year from now, as measured by the S&P 500? So let's go into those 4 previous times in history. We have 1961, 1980, 82, and 1991 are all times where we had a recession, and we actually had the markets hit an all-time high while being in recession during those periods of time. Again, this year in 2020 was the 5th time we actually just accomplished that. Well, the recession ended in 1961, 1 month later, so right around the corner the recession ended. What was the performance of the S&P 500 a year from when that actually happened, when we exited recession? The S&P forward return was 11.3% on that. Let's go back to 1980. Same month the recession essentially was ended. The forward return in the S&P 500 was 7.7%. Another positive return. In 1982, same month the recession ended, while hitting all-time highs, and the market forward return on the S&P 500 back then was a 14.4% rate of return. And then 1991, most recent in history, the recession ended a month later after hitting all-time highs, and the forward return on that was 12.1%. The average here is over 11% over the 4 previous times in history. Now, that doesn't predict or even indicate that we're going to have markets on a go-forward basis for the S&P 500 to be positive. We don't know the answer to that question. However, if we use market history as a gauge, as we so often do, Strategis does, we do as we navigate portfolios, it really helps set the stage for when the recession will end. We don't know here in 2020, but more importantly, what does the forward look like on the S&P 500? And again, the reason why is that you've got all the additional stimulus outside of recession. So you actually want to be investing when you're in a recession. In fact, that's where the likes of Warren Buffett and Peter Lynch and all of the greats that are investors that have a long view on long-dated assets that buy quality, like we do here at Blanke Schein Wealth Management for our clients, you make the most money in a recession when you're buying value at a good price, but you just don't know it yet. You have to have a long-dated view. Hold that for more than a year. And in fact, if we go out more than a year on these numbers, the total return gets even better. So this is good empirical evidence to say, hey, listen, we're going to have a lot of opportunity ahead because we're going to have a lot of uncertainty. But history is a gauge right here and a guide. When you're in this recession or close to being out of a recession, that's when you want to be invested and looking for opportunities, just like we're doing here at Blanke Schein Wealth Management for our clients. So thank you for watching and have a great weekend and enjoy the time. Bye.